Once upon a time, in a quiet corner of the kingdom, lived a girl named Cinderella. Her days were spent in a drafty old manor, endlessly sweeping the floor, scrubbing pots, and caring for the whims of her cruel stepmother and vain stepsisters. They treated her not as a family member, but as a servant. And the more they demanded of her, the more they made sure she believed she was undeserving of anything better. Yet even amidst the cinders and cruelty, Cinderella held on to hope, her heart warmed by dreams of a life beyond her dusty chores. Far across the kingdom, in a gleaming palace that towered above the town, a prince looked out over the horizon. Handsome and kind, the young prince had everything wealth could buy, yet he felt a curious emptiness. His life was ruled more by duty than by choice. His parents had begun dropping hints it was time for him to marry. Ball after ball, the prince met noblewomen and heiresses, but he hadn't felt the spark of a true connection. Hidden beneath his refined demeanor was a yearning, not for wealth or status, but for someone who saw him for who he was and not what he was meant to represent. The fates seemed ready to intervene when a proclamation swept across the land, an invitation to a grand ball at the royal palace. Open to all eligible maidens, the ball was meant to help the prince find his future bride. Excited chatter filled the manor when Cinderella's stepsisters received their invitations. As they prepared for the evening, Cinderella stared at the letter longingly. Her stepmother's laugh snapped her out of her reverie. "You at the royal ball? Don't be ridiculous," she sneered, but deep inside, Cinderella couldn't suppress her wish to go, even if it seemed impossible. Just as her despair began to overtake her, a soft light illuminated the garden. From it emerged her fairy godmother, her eyes twinkling with warmth and mischief. "Now, child," said the godmother, "if you're determined to go to that ball, we'll just need a little magic." In no time, a pumpkin transformed into a glorious carriage and her tattered dress into a sparkling gown. But the magic came with a warning. It would last only until midnight. When Cinderella arrived at the palace, the grand hall took her breath away, but never as much as the prince did when their eyes met across the room. Something about her was different. Cinderella saw him, not just as a prince, but simply as himself. And when they danced, it was as though the rest of the world had melted away. For the first time, both of them felt truly seen. But as the hours flew, the tolling of midnight broke the spell. Cinderella tore herself away, running out of the palace just as the last chime sounded. Left behind on the staircase was a slipper, delicate and glassy, as mysterious as the girl who had worn it. Determined to find her, the prince sent messengers across the kingdom with the slipper, declaring he would marry the one it fit. When the news reached Cinderella's household, her stepsisters scrambled to ready themselves. Cinderella, locked away by her stepmother, feared her chance was gone. But as the hours flew, the tolling of midnight broke the spell. Cinderella tore herself away, running out of the palace just as the last chime sounded. Left behind on the staircase was a slipper, delicate and glassy, as mysterious as the girl who had worn it. Determined to find her, the prince sent messengers across the kingdom with the slipper, declaring he would marry the one it fit. When the news reached Cinderella's household, her stepsisters scrambled to ready themselves. Cinderella, locked away by her stepmother, feared her chance was gone. From that day forward, their lives intertwined, not just in romance, but in shared respect and understanding. Cinderella became not just a princess, but a symbol of resilience, while the prince found the partner he'd always longed for. Together, they ruled with kindness, proving that when hope and love meet, they can overcome even the harshest of beginnings. And so they lived happily ever after.